Welcome to Geno's Picks. Joe has a plane to catch. Watch us rush through this train wreck, people. All right, 2-2 last week, 9-11 on the year, 45%. But who cares? We are nailing. Even the two we got wrong last week, we were spot on. We missed Seattle, but we said, Hauschka would have a huge game. And we said the only way the Jets would win is if Geno Smith stopped turning the ball over. And he did, and they won. Shout out Jets, 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 Jets. So let's get to the picks. But first, you know what really grinds my gears? Crazy NFL fans. Did you see the jackass that went to Matt Schaub's house? Look, I'm a Charger fan. I die a little every day, but I don't sit there and freak out and go to the guy's house and bang on the door of Eddie Royal, who we'll talk about more later, and say, catch the friggin' ball. Jesus Christ, people. Just relax. Do what you can. Get on the chat boards, and don't scare your starting quarterback. But you know what the weird thing was? Turns out Matt Schaub didn't even see the guy. His sister did. You know why Matt Schaub didn't see the guy? He was wearing a 49ers jersey. You become invisible to him in those. All right, let's get to the picks. Did you pack your bags yet, Joe? Ooh, we better hustle. My first pick, the Raiders are getting 9 from the Chiefs in KC. Yes, the Chiefs are undefeated. And let's face it, they got a scare from Ryan Fitzmagic the other day. But, of course, they finished them off at the end. And I know, Poker God, I know we took the Chiefs, the under on 7.5, but I think that's the only one we're missing so far. But, look, I have told you repeatedly, people, that Alex Smith is like my Discover card. You pull it out of your pocket and everyone starts giggling. But every time it comes out, I know I'm getting cash back. And that's why I'm betting against Alex Smith again, people. The last time he was playing the Cowboys, and they may have stolen a win, but the Chiefs did not cover. And this week, the Chiefs play a divisional game against the Oakland Raiders. And we've said it before, we'll say it again. In a divisional game, the only records more meaningless than your ones in the standings are the ones in your attic. And just like those, no one's listening to anything you're doing with them. People, look. I made fun of Terrell Pryor when he got into that trouble at Ohio State, but I love being wrong. And let me tell you something about Terrell. He's all grossed up, he's all grossed up, and he's all grossed up, and I love watching the kid. And he defeated my Bolts this past Monday morning, showing poise, accuracy, and leadership, or accuracy, if I'm Herm Edwards, that is going to prove me wrong in the future. And now, suddenly, the Raiders are not an afterthought. And if they didn't give him enough votes of confidence, how about them releasing Matt Flynn this week, who earned millions upon millions of dollars for one good afternoon he had against the Lions years ago, people. You know what's funny to me? The phrase "in like Flynn," according to Wikipedia, may mean having achieved the goal or gained access as desired. But do you know what it comes from? Actor Errol Flynn was so good-looking that anytime he went out with a woman, you could be certain that he was going to get in there, if you know what I mean. Well, kudos to Matt Flynn for carrying on the tradition of that phrase, because every time he went in, the people around him got fucked. People, take the Raiders and lay the 8. My next pick, the Rams are getting 7.5 from the Texans in Houston. Do you know Kubiak came out today and said it was a tough choice, but we're going with Matt Schaub? That is not a vote of confidence. That's a fine. You're slightly not as bad as the other guy, which I think is ridiculous, because I think Yates is good. People, the Rams may be winless on the road, but they're a team that seem to be finding their stride, especially when you couple that with the fact that they're facing what will be a very shaky Matt Schaub, who, when he does finally lose his job this week, I have some great news for you, Matt. You can always take over my seat, because outside of me, Matt Schaub is the only person in America consistently throwing more hilarious picks out every week. But I do know he'll be thinking about that, and he'll be worried about throwing a pick so much that he's not going to be hitting anyone, let alone his guys or the other teams. And need I tell you one more thing? Owen Daniels is out, and a tight end to a quarterback in his situation is like a tight end to a struggling actor. Once it goes, you're toast, people. Look for Zach Stacy, who averaged 5.6 yards a carry, winning the starting job last week, to have a pretty good day against the Texans D, which, although it does well against the pass, ranked 27th against the run, people. And that, Zach Stacy, running up and down the field will eat a lot of clock, and all that's going to do is give Matt Schaub plenty of time on the sideline to contemplate the inevitable. People, take the Rams and the 7.5 you're getting. Carry on, or you're bringing something to check?
Carry on.
Oh, you got stuff to do, people. People, my third pick, the Panthers are getting The Panthers are getting pants, and they're getting 2.5 from the Vikings in Minnesota. Look, I get it. The Vikings are coming off a bye week after beating the Steelers in England, and the Panthers are rolling into Minnesota, reeling from a humiliating loss to the Cards last week in Arizona, where Cam Newton's QBR was 4.9 points higher than his jersey number. Wow. But look, he's not going to have a game that bad again. And don't kid yourself, people. The Panthers' defense is still one of the best in football. And despite not being able to overcome all the short fields Cam Newton gave them, the number 3 defense in the NFL picked off Carson Palmer 3 times. And you're telling me that whichever lame duck of a QB, Christian Ponder or Matt Castle, is going to start is going to fare any better against that D? Look, whoever's chosen to hand the rock off to Adrian Peterson, it's not going to matter, because by next week, Josh Freeman will be starting. You know what? It's only a shame they couldn't do this whole Freeman deal like last week when they were still in England, because then they could have left Castle back there with all the other useless Castles they have in Europe, people. Take the Panthers and the 2.5 you're getting. Which brings me to my Double Your Money Monday Night Betters. I like to call it, oh, these Bolts are breaking my heart. People, the Colts are giving 2.5 to the Bolts in Qualcomm in San Diego. The Chargers are coming off another loss that idiots will blame on my boy Philip Rivers. Yeah, that's a cute face. I've seen it a dozen times. But anyone with half a brain will realize it is the people around Philip Rivers that constantly let him down. How many more times can I tell you people how bad Eddie Royal is? I'm trying to think who last year in that annoying, humiliating loss to the Broncos, he just quit on a ball, and he's still doing it. I'm trying to think who tweeted back in week 2 that with Malcolm Floyd out, Eddie Royal, who had 5 touchdowns after week 2, would become an afterthought. And he still only has 5 because he is a non-physical receiver, and he is a non-factor at receiver because he simply does not go for footballs. You know why Josh Freeman survived as long as he did in Tampa? Because he has prototypical receivers like Mike Williams and B-Jack, Vincent Jackson, who whenever they go up for a ball, 9 out of 10 times they get it. And when they don't, they make damn sure the cornerback doesn't. Not Eddie Royal. He just gives up on balls, which is why this was a pick. Doesn't that look like a fair catch? It was a pick because Eddie Royal gave up on it. And then 3 drives later, he muffed a punt, people. And that gave the Raiders all the momentum they needed. Let me tell you something. If you still have Eddie Royal on your team, you deserve it. But he deserves to be on your fantasy team about as much as he deserves to be on the Chargers team. But you know what? I think the Chargers should hold on to him. But they should make one little change to his jersey. After Royal, they should add -fuck up. People, I love the Bolts, but I can't see him covering this. Take the Colts, lay the 2.5. Those are Geno's picks.